Hello there, and welcome to Excel Basics series where I go over some basics in Excel. So what we're going to do right now is talk about functions. So what is a function? In Excel, it does a lot of calculations for you, as you probably know, but if you do something like 4 plus 9, it just says it there. So how do we let Excel know we wanted to calculate something? We put an equal sign. And if you start with an equal sign, then it knows it's a function. So if I put like equals here, it gives me this name error because it says this is supposed to be a function. What's the function? Because here is no function. So anytime you start with an equal sign, that lets Excel know you're trying to do a function. So it's like just the basic of a function. And if you wanted to, for some reason, have the equal sign, you could put it in quotations like this. So if you wanted to go equal here for whatever reason, then you can do that. But so if we go like equals 4 plus 9, like I wanted to do earlier, it'll calculate it for us. And that is the basic of what a function is. And now I'm going to talk about relative and absolute referencing. So let's say I want to calculate some things. Um, I go, let's say I want to do like a little multiplication table. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if I don't want a number, I want to reference something. What I do is I go equals, and then I can click or I can type. So I can type B2 or I can click on that. And now Excel knows that I'm referencing this B2. And I want to multiply that by 1. This one over here, right? This A3. So you can type this out or you can just click. I like to click. And then a cool thing about Excel is there's this little box in the lower right. And then you can drag this formula. So if I drag this formula, it'll copy it further over. But you'll notice 24 isn't equal to 1 times 4, so what happened there? Well, if we double click on it, we can see what's happening. It's multiplying this 4 by the 6. And that's because if we look at the original formula, it's multiplying the cell on top of it by the cell to the left of it. And that's what is happening over here. So that's really helpful in some cases. Um, like, let's say I have some numbers. Um, I don't know, just some numbers. Uh, let's say we're doing some like accounting thing, and this is revenue. We made $5, and invest or invest return. We made an additional $2, and then costs. We spent $6. So we made 5 plus we made $2, and we lost 6. And then I'll just put some other ones over here. Just completely making these numbers up. It doesn't matter. And then what we want to do is we're equal, right? We want our revenue, and we also made some investment returns, but we spent this money, so minus this. And then when we drag that, that's exactly the kind of time when just dragging is perfect. But what if, oops, now what if for this, we want to know how much we're going to pay in tax? Um, and so what we can do is we can put a tax rate up here, and let's say the tax rate is 0.05, or it's 5%. So the tax is going to be equal to our, I don't know, total, this doesn't make any sense from an accounting perspective, but whatever, is equal to, we made $1 times the tax rate. But if we drag it over, same problem we had with the multiplication table, it's referencing, right, 5 up and 1 over. So what we do is we do what's called an absolute reference. You can press F4 or you can manually type dollar signs. And that is now an absolute reference because it has the dollar signs. So now if we drag it over, it's still doing the tax rate. So that's what we call an absolute reference. And then you can change the tax rate. Oops. Then you can change the tax rate. So if the tax rate was 1, then you'd pay all of it. If it was 1%, then you'd pay right that, and it'll just calculate all of it for you. And so we call this a value driver in terms of we want stuff down here, and then these are like inputs, if you think about it like a function. So how are we going to do this multiplication table? Well, we don't want a total absolute. What we want to do is for these are the numbers we're multiplying. For the b's, we want it to be relative to where we go this direction along the x-axis, these right. So these are columns up here, ABC. These are rows down here. So when we move across columns, we want to reference that column. So we want, when we're here, we want to reference C2. When we're here, we want to reference D2. So this letter is changing, but we want this number to stay the same. And so instead of doing a full absolute, I'm just putting a $sign there. And I type that $sign here. I'll use F4. Right, for the A3s, we want this to be in the A column, but we want the number to change. And so we're going to stick it to the A. If you press F4 multiple times, it'll toggle. So I pressed it 1, 2, 3 times. And now it's going to stick to A. So now when I drag this, you can see it's multiplying. And then I can highlight all these and drag them all down using the same method. And you can see it's multiplying the appropriate numbers together. And there's always an equal sign. That's the first or the very important thing to mention. And then Excel, one last thing is that Excel has a ton of functions. So if I go equals and I type something, it'll start to populate. Okay, well, type a word actually. It'll start to populate all these different things that Excel knows how to do. And Excel knows hundreds of functions. And you can download custom functions. Excel is an extremely powerful tool. Let's say I want to, let's say if instead of doing this manual formula, I just wanted to add them all, right? It knows the sum function. And okay, this again doesn't make any sense, but just showing you how the function works. And so those are functions, but they always start with an equal sign whenever you're doing any kind of calculation. And so that is how to do functions, formulas, calculations in Excel. If you have any questions, let me know down below, and I'll be happy to clarify. Thanks for watching.